Welcome back to One Tanya Daily, where we learn practical life lessons from Sefer Tanya. Today's portion is for the day of the 24th day of Kislev. Let me just double check this. Today's portion is for the 24th day of Kislev, Kaf Dalet Kislev, from the Moreh of the Friedrich Lubavitch Rebbe. Today is the second chapter. It's the full chapter designated for this day, the Perek Beis of Sefer Tanya. In this chapter, the Rebbe discusses our neshama, our soul, where it comes from. As the Rebbe says, it is a chelik eloka mimal mamish. And to give an accurate translation, I'm looking here at Lessons in Tanya, which you can find on the Chabad.org. Google it, Lessons in Tanya, it comes up. And the literal translation in the opening of the chapter is, the second uniquely Jewish soul is truly a part of God above. The Rebbe goes into great detail, talking about the soul, its source, and different Torah sources making his case. He's comparing it to a human being born, that when a human being is born, they come from the from the actual brain of the father. And that's what gives us life and sustains us. And that's the comparison. And through the father and 9 months of gestation in the mother, that's how we get life. And part of learning life lessons from such a spiritual and holy sefer book is looking at how he wrote things, how he framed it, and and trying to understand why he framed it that way. It's partially how I take out these lessons. And it's interesting to see how he frames it, how he talks about it, that we come from our father with 9 months of gestation in the mother. And all the way towards the end, the Rebbe mentions that even souls of very high caliber can come from even parents that are not of the highest caliber. And it is very well known, the Rebbe establishes it here throughout this chapter, that holier souls come from holier parents. Parents that are involved in holiness and spirituality and prepare when bringing a child into this world in the most correct, holy, and spiritual way. These are things we can, if we're looking for spirituality and deep holiness, these are things we can perhaps imagine achieving. It's very hard to achieve. So it's very interesting to note these expressions from the Alter Rebbe. And what I take out of it is trauma related. I'm not talking about my own personal trauma, I have plenty. But very often, especially today's day and age, the hot topic, if you will, is childhood trauma. And it's a real thing. I'm not here to take anything away from that. It's a very real thing. And trauma comes in many forms. Trauma comes in the form of abuse. Trauma comes in the form of neglect. Trauma comes in the form of, unfortunately, even worse, sometimes sexual abuse. Trauma comes from emotional absenteeness, broken homes, stressed out homes, parents that are unhealthy, sometimes siblings that are unhealthy, taking too much attention away from the other children. Comes in so many different forms, and every single one is deeply painful. But we try to find solutions. Trauma is a problem, and it's not the problem, it's the result. It's the result of an action. It's the result of a confluence of actions. It's a result of a combination of happenings that we had no control over, and we're deeply traumatized and it impacts us. But how do we deal with it? How do we take it forward? How do we better ourselves with the trauma and not allowing it to keep us down? Because trauma, it doesn't matter who we are, where we are, trauma pulls us down. And the part I'm going to focus on strongly is the ending, where the Rebbe talks about different levels of souls, which obviously has an impact of the human being that you are. But towards the end, he makes sure to write, Aval hanashama atzma, hine lipa'amim nishmas adam gevoya le'ein kates, ba liyos benoy shel adam nivze v'shafal. But the soul itself, as distinct from its garment, is not affected by the parent's sanctification. In fact, it sometimes happens that the soul of an infinitely lofty person comes from the son of an ignoble, innoble, and lowly person. And if you've experienced childhood trauma, unfortunately, too many times it's associated with parents. And with that comes resentment, anger, along with sadness, and all the different parts that trauma gives us. But how do we get out of it? And to get out of it, we need to reframe. We need to reframe how we view our parents, how we view ourselves. If we view our parents as what they should be in truth, these larger than life figures that give us life itself, emotional health, and stability, and all the things that parents are supposed to give us, it's a true frame. But what if there's trauma involved? Then that frame is harming us. That truth, that absolute truth, is harming us. So it's necessary for us to reframe how we view our parents. And that is that our parents are a vessel to give us life, to fulfill a mission that we might not know exactly what it is. And how can we understand that? How can we actually go on in life with the trauma and in a healthy way still respect our parents, take what we can, take what we need? When we view our parents not as, when we need to, and when we reframe how our view of our parents not as these godlike humans, these giants that they should be, but a vessel that gives us a soul, that gives us life, we can turn around and look at our parents with empathy and say, you're missing out so much. You are so powerful that you were able to give me life. You're so powerful that you're able to give me everything that I have, all the experiences that I have. The power that you hold is unlimited. You have more power than kings and presidents. Yet you neglected it. And I feel sorry for you. Or not, you neglected it. If it's a different situation, you had circumstances in life that stole this away from you. And I'm going through these terrible, terrible traumas, which is giving you heartache because you see it as a parent. That's empathy. We can have empathy towards our parents instead of having anger. Taking it up to another level is moving from the pain into living now. How do we do that? The next level is living in gratitude. If, I mean, it's another hot topic today's day and age, living in gratitude. So much easier said than done. But going back to the principle of reframing, when we look at our parents as a vessel, as a tool of God, a vessel from God, from Hashem himself, to bring us down here in this world and give us life, when there's enough separation between both the mind memories and the body memories of trauma, and a reprogramming, a reframing of gratitude, we're physically and emotionally able to move forward from that trauma. It says itself so easy. Obviously, it comes attached with a lot of work that hopefully we'll be able to address throughout these lessons in Tanya, these daily Tanya stuff. I don't know what to refer to it yet as. But reframing it from a state of you should have, you were supposed to I have gratitude to you, I have gratitude for you, gives us the ability to move forward and upward and onward with life, giving us the life that we deserve, the existence we deserve to live in gratitude. Living in gratitude, if you've experienced it even for 5 minutes, is such a high frequency. We want it all the time. The only reason God created a scenario where we don't have it all the time is so that we can appreciate those moments so much more. And reframing our parents from who they were supposed to be to who they actually are gives us that ability to move forward and upward. And unfortunately, there are parents who have done unspeakable things to their kids, and the work to reframe a parent from who they were supposed to be to who they are is unfortunately by too many people reframed by actions that parents did, that they're monsters, they're the absolute lowliest of humans. And again, reframing for ourselves, because it's not about them at this point. If someone has a parent that is such a monster, it's definitely not about them. It's about ourselves. It's about connecting to a deeper self, to God. And reframing that parent as a vessel, just a vessel. And in that scenario, a vessel that did something so unspeakable, remove the power that they have over you. Remove the power by saying, you are nothing to me but a vessel. I get to grab the life I deserve. I get to experience the life I deserve because of God, and I'll have gratitude to God for that. You missed your mission. And I'm not even going to give you space in my heart or head anymore. The heartache, the trauma, the pain, that is so deep, it's inconsolable, that remove their power. You're nothing but a vessel. You had a mission. You screwed it up. I'm not going to allow you to hold that over me anymore. I'm going to live the life I deserve. It's the power of reframing these things. And I really see this, what the Alter Rebbe is writing, as the ability to reframe the role of a parent that did not fulfill their role. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.